time, like I always say.
Ready?
Yep.
The Unknown Zone.
Talk show.
The Unknown Zone.
And I want to tell you, I bought, and I'm not advertising, but I bought this, and I bought the Bullet coffee, which I've been drinking. I want to ask you, what would I put this in? I'm a little confused.
I use it on my, it's what it is it's a highly refined coconut oil. And I use it on my salads and on vegetables. It doesn't really have any flavor.
Okay.
And it's what it does is it slows down the absorption, number one. Number two, it's a natural antifungal, which is great for me with yeast. And
too.
number three, it satiates those parts of the brain that for me are the addictive centers, because I'm a sugar addict. I haven't had sugar. It'll be 3 years in April.
Wow. I got to applaud that.
And that brain octane oil was the big game changer for me.
Really?
Big game changer. So I use a couple of tablespoons at lunch and at dinner.
Okay.
And if I miss a meal with it, it has little packets that I carry in my purse. And I'll use it in a restaurant, like on the salad or something. And if I miss it, boy, I'm starting to crave the carbs. So it makes a big difference to me.
Interesting.
And the other thing about it is it's highly refined, so it doesn't cause as much stomach upset as normal MCT oil that a lot of people will use.
Right.
But start out slowly with it, because it can give you the runs and cause stomach distress. So your stomach's got to get used to it.
Okay.
As you're using it.
Here's a big question.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of vaccines.
Yeah.
However, there are people that are. I'm not going to mention any names, Phil.
That was a fan.
Is there anything people can do if they are going to get the newest one, let's say, that they can do to protect themselves otherwise, health-wise?
I'm not equipped to really be one to give advice on that. I would send people to Dr. Christian Northrup, drnorthrup.com, NORTHRUP, DRNORTH.
I will put that up there.
RUP, drnorthrup.com. She's really done some extensive research. She's a women's global health expert.
I love her. Yeah.
She's fabulous. Yeah. And I would refer people there. What I will say is, I think a lot of it depends on, again, the spirit's prerogative. Online, I'm seeing people on social media going, "Oh, I got my vaccine. Here's my certificate. I'm so excited." And that's perfect for them. You know, if they believe that it's going to help them, and they believe that it's going to help them go out into society and not be in lockdown and not have to worry about infecting perhaps somebody who's an elderly person in their family or a loved one. Great. It's how do you feel? For those that feel that it's just awful and they shouldn't get it and all of that, then they shouldn't get it. But we can only control our own bodies and what goes into our own bodies. We can only control our own thoughts. And for us to try and convince somebody else is just a total waste of time. Pay attention to how you feel. If it feels good, it's right for you. That's your spirit saying, okay, this is in your best interest. If it feels bad, it's not.
That is the best advice you could have ever given me today.
Yeah, pay attention to how you feel.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I agree with you. And do you think that goes with the thought that everyone's consciousness is where it's at and what we've signed on for in this lifetime?
Oh, absolutely. We all come in with a script, if you will, of what we want to explore in this lifetime. It's very generalized. And then we'll explore it through many lifetimes, different nuances, different place we incarnate, different gender, different profession, different whatever, socioeconomic status. An example I use a lot is the movie A Star is Born with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper that was out a couple of years ago. Yep. That was a 4th remake of the same script.
Right.
I saw it in high school. You might have as well.
I saw all
Garland.
the
Yeah. Did you saw all
Garland.
of them? Garland, absolutely.
Amazing. Yeah.
Different timeline, different cast of characters,
Right.
same script, different nuances to look at it from a different perspective. Think about how many times Hamlet has been performed
Right.
and how many times it's been performed in different locations with different directors and different companies
Absolutely.
of actors and producers and set designers. And it's all the same script. It's a different interpretation. And what happens is our spirit expands. And within that script, it may be that you come in and you want to be an educator and you're a bunch of different ways of, you experience a bunch of different ways of being an educator in the same lifetime. You're a
Oh, that's
teacher in the schools, you're a
right.
teacher online, you're an educator right now, you and Phil. What are you doing? You're educating your
Through comedy.
audience
Comedy is
through
my
comedy.
through line. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
yeah. I was just going to say, this is my, this is my picture, is that when we pass over and we go, there's, the movie Defending Your Life.
no.
Well, it's a movie by Albert Brooks. He's a
Oh,
comedian.
he's
And
fabulous. Yeah.
fabulous. And he goes in and he dies, and then he has to go through all these, like, do you remember, Phil, what it was?
Oh, I think I saw it just once, so I keep going. It's kind of bringing.
He goes through all these, like, cycles, and he has to get tested to go to the next level or whatever. But my idea is that you go to, like, there's a desk, and you, like, look at a list of, like, possibilities for your next life. And I can just picture myself going, no, no, maybe, like, there are things that, is it possible that you do get to choose? Like,
Oh, I think it is accurate that you get to choose. We all choose.
can you choose to be like an animal or an insect?
What I've
That would be crazy.
been told and
Uh-huh.
what I believe is that we evolve in a forward way. So there's no going back.
Okay. So the insect would have been like one of the first lives.
Perhaps there's some schools have thought of that. I tend to believe that we're always human.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a human incarnation. There are lots of schools of thought that would disagree with me. That doesn't resonate with me.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? Who knows? I don't know.
Right,
But it's
right.
just what resonates with me. It's kind of like when somebody dies and they'll say, oh, you have an extra angel in heaven. Well, no, different species. It's like comparing a dandelion to a schnauzer, not the same species.
Right, right.
But you have an advocate in heaven. You have somebody who's a spirit guide in heaven. You have a loved one who's in spirit form that's around you all the time. They don't sprout wings. Speaking of which, angels, 12 years of Catholic schools, angels look to me like they look like on the statues, right? Big beings,
Gargoyle.
wings, and the paintings, exactly.
Mm.
To somebody who's
Oh, no,
raised, somebody who's
Me too.
raised in an indigenous culture who's never seen that image before may perceive angels as a blob of orange energy. It's how I perceive them based on my frame of reference so that I can identify.
So yeah, you can communicate and identify. My question for you is, it always seems like when people go to discover their past lives, they never talk about they're like normal people, like nobody cares, they were like nobodies. They're always like, oh, I was a general and I was this and is that because they had like 3,000 lives and one of them was actually prominent, or no one just never wants to talk about just being like a normal person that no one ever cared about, really?
It would be the latter.
Okay.
I have done thousands of past life scans. I have found one admiral in a past life.
Well, I brought that up because I heard that. I watched that episode.
That happens a lot, right? I had a couple past life readings, and I was told that I've been here a lot, and I like to be here. I like to come back. I was also told that I was at one point a mob boss,
Oh,
which would make sense if you could ask Phil. Also that I was a B-list actress that used men a lot, which might be the reason I have trouble with relationships in this life. One of the last people told me that I was an African-American woman that was a maid in a castle.
Oh.
And I had a lot of children, and I had a really good relationship with my husband, who was the gardener. But
Cool.
he passed, and I was very well taken care of, and there was no racism back in the day. Where I did not experience it. So, who knows? Yeah.
May I tell a quick story about a client that was having trouble with men?
Yes.
This is one of my
Please.
faves.
I'm not the only one. I'm much.
Well, yeah. When is this show going to air?
I will be editing it this week. So this week will be part 1, and then I'll have next week's.
Okay. Well,
part 2.
next Sunday on Valentine's Day, I'm doing a training for how to find your romantic soulmate.
No.
And if you go
Really?
to Ask Julie Ryan on any of my social media, there's a link in the bio to sign up. It's how to communicate with spirit and find your romantic soulmate.
Okay, I'll be there.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Thank you.
come
Look
join
at
us.
that
It'll
timing.
be really fun. It's at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
So
great.
it'll be a blast. But one of my favorite stories is I have a client, and actually she's a graduate of my class too, who is a flight attendant, and she's Italian, born and raised in Italy. She lives in Florida now. And she said, I always choose this men that are unavailable. What is up with that? Do I have some past life or something? So we did a past life scan. Well, she turns out she was a geisha in Kyoto, Japan. I forget the year, early part, I think, of the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
So geishas they're kept women. You know, they have a sponsor who's usually married, and she was very much in love with this man. And so I always come up with different scenarios of how it resonates. I'm downloading information from spirit going, okay, here's how this resonates with what's going on. Well, she gasped when I said you were geisha in Kyoto, Japan. And I said, what? I hadn't even gotten to how does it resonate. She said, I worked for ANA Airlines at one time, which is the Japanese airline, All Nippon Airlines. And she said, my training was in Kyoto, Japan. And she said, when I got there, it felt so familiar. She goes, I'm an Italian girl from Italy. What do I know about Japan?
I love that.
And so she said, it felt so familiar. She said, even to the point on the first day of my training, I am the only non-Japanese person in my training for the flight attendant training. And she said, we went to the cafeteria and they didn't have forks. So I had to use chopsticks, and I knew how to use them.
There you go.
And I'd never held them before. And she said, my colleagues, who were in the training with me were saying, girl, you use these better than I do. And I've been, using them my whole life. And she said, this makes total sense now. So I think
I love how it comes together like that.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you if possible, because I had a reading with you and you were kind enough to do the scan on my sister, if we could maybe do a little something for Phil.
Sure. If he wants.
Yeah. I'm down.
Yeah. Sure.
I would love to hear a past life, but what would you two discuss? Whatever.
What would you like out of my buffet of psychicness, Phil?
I'm excited.
You'll talk to spirits, correct? So
oh yeah, we can talk to dead people. We can do a past life thing.
Let's do that.
We can do both.
Oh, whatever flows through you.
I'm game with whatever you want to do.
I'll do people that passed. That's fine.
Okay. All right. Who you want to talk to?
No, I like to talk to my wife's father.
What's his name? What's his name?
Joseph Messina.
Joseph. All right. So our heads are big satellite dishes. They receive and they transmit frequencies. Every spirit has the same frequency throughout all of its lifetimes. And that's how we can do past lives too, as we just think of the person, we connect into their frequency, and then we can access whatever past life we want. So Joseph is standing to your right. Spirits are very literal. He's going to communicate telepathically. It's going to feel like it's a thought in your head. How you know it's coming from him is it's the first thing that pops into your head within a second, as fast as you can snap your fingers. If you think about it for more than a couple of seconds, it's going to be your brain talking to you. The other thing that's important to remember is when we're asking for advice or guidance from somebody who's deceased, we want to be very specific, because spirits are very literal and they're always going to give us the correct answer. But how applicable the information is predicated on how we ask the question. For instance, if you say, tell me his name again?
Joseph Messina.
Joseph. See, I'm visual. I got to write it down. You told me, and I've already forgotten it because it doesn't go in. Yeah, because I need to see it, so I wrote it down. So Joseph, if we say, "Hey, Joseph, are we going to enjoy watching the Super Bowl?" And you got a yes. comes in instantly. And you go, okay, and you're watching the Super Bowl, and it's a blowout. And you're going, this is the most boring Super Bowl I have ever watched. I need to go to bed. I mean, this is like not even worth watching. And you're saying, hey, Joseph, what's up with that? Why'd you tell us we'd enjoy watching the Super Bowl? Well, the way you asked the question could pertain to any Super Bowl that you're going to watch throughout your whole life. All right. Versus if you say, hey, Joseph, are we going to enjoy watching the Super Bowl tonight between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady and whatever the quarterback is for the Chiefs? That's that young guy. I can't think of his name. Mahone. Yeah. Are we going to enjoy watching it tonight? See the difference in how you ask the question. So we want to be really specific. So what's your question? Let's ask him some questions and we'll prime the pump.
The question would be let's see. I want him to give a message to his daughter, who's my wife.
Okay, so that's pretty general.
Yeah.
How about, what's your wife's name? Marion. Are you around Marion? How about that?
Okay.
Let's start off. And then what we'll do is we'll refine it down. Okay, we'll just ask more pointed questions. So are you around Marion? Is your spirit around Marion? And what's the first thing that comes in your head when you ask that?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you around Marion often?
Yes.
Is there something in particular that Marion's doing when she's thinking of you?
I drew a blank for a second, so.
All right. Did you get anything, Yvonne?
Washing, like doing laundry.
I got doing laundry as well. Bingo.
Oh my God, I love it.
Doing the laundry. And I'm thinking, really? And then you think, that's just such a weird answer. Really? Why are you thinking of your dad Marion, when you're doing the laundry? So you'll be able to ask her later. Go, hey, do you think of your dad when you're doing laundry? I mean, did he work in a laundry? Was he a clean freak? I mean, what's up with that?
He definitely was a neat dresser, that's for sure.
Okay. Well, there you go. There's a connection. Okay. So let's ask him some more questions. See, it can be open-ended. It can be multiple choice. It can be yes, no. It doesn't matter.
I've never done this, so it's a little
Well,
weird.
it's like we did it last show. Remember I did it we did an intuition exercise.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
fun.
And it doesn't have to be just with people that you know. It can be with anybody. I mean, you want to talk to Shakespeare,
Anybody.
You want to talk to Plato, you want to talk to Mother Teresa, it doesn't matter. It's just you think of them. You can do this with spirits that are alive. You just ask a question or you think of somebody and you make a statement or ask a question, even a spirit that's attached to a body. You can ask Marion a question or make a statement to her.
What's the difference between when you hear someone, you get an answer, and your ego? Because I find sometimes I get confused, and I think like I'll try to tune in and hear an answer, and then I get a little too mental, and then I know it ends up not being a spirit.
It's the first thing that comes in within a second.
Right.
And if it doesn't come in right away or you're questioning it, then ask another question.
Okay.
Refine it down. Like,
okay.
Like when Joseph said, she thinks of me when she's doing the laundry. I'm going, really? And
that's weird that we both thought that.
And then I got, yeah. So, and then when you said it, yeah, that was fun. Cause I was going to say it anyways. Cause at this point I'm just a roving reporter. I just report what I get.
And I saw washing, cause I do get visual. I get like pictures. Sometimes I saw a washing machine.
So you said earlier that you're not visual. That's visual information coming in.
Actually, yeah.
You have visual. Everybody has all of it. The more you do it, the more all of the senses come in. And like in medicine, woo-woo, likes to divide people. Okay, well, she's just a clairaudient or just a clairvoyant. No, it's like
right.
Once you tap into spirit, you can do all of it.
You're right. And I have taken classes where I do see things. So that is true. Yeah.
Well, you take my class, you do it all. And you're at a postdoctoral level and you're able to do all the buffet of psychicness.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We have 5 minutes. I want to know what a past life of Phil's, if that's okay.
Wow.
Well, it's up to you, Phil.
Yeah, I'm down. Totally
you're game?
down.
Let's
Okay,
wrap it up with a past life.
so again, let's come up with a question of something you're interested in. What are you interested in knowing if you have a past life that's affecting something in this life?
Science.
I don't understand.
Generic? Yeah.
Did you say
Say it again.
science?
You want to know what?
You said name something that you thought would be in the past.
Say, name something that you're interested in to see if you had a past life and that's affecting this life, or if you have any. Would you say science? Do I have a past life where I was in science? What, like as a? Well, yeah. Okay. Were you interested in science? That's very general. So I am an entrepreneur, as you know. So of course I'm going to do things differently, just cause that's how my brain works. So I envision myself in this endless hallway, very tall ceilings, narrow walls, floor to ceiling, 12-inch by 12-inch square mirrors. Each mirror represents a different lifetime. They're lined up perfectly vertically and horizontally. Was I potty trained too early? Perhaps, because it's not haphazard. It's perfect synchronized. So we're going to ask the question, does Phil have any past lives in which he was involved with any science in any way? The lifetimes that pertain to that are going to come out from the wall as if they're on a hydraulic arm. They're going to be pushed out. Then I'm going to say, show me the one that correlates the most. That one will come out the farthest. I'm going to envision myself walking into it. I'll be shown a scene. We'll be given the date, the time, what was going on, and then we'll correlate it with your current life. Are you really interested in science now?
Let's go to music then.
Well, no. I mean, we can do science, but are you interested in science now?
Well, I do kind of science already. I just thought maybe something in the past kept me into the science thing.
So you do science like in your profession, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the medical sciences. So do you want to know if you have anything in the medical science arena in a past life that would lead you to be in this industry in this lifetime?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So I'm in the hallway. Does Phil have any past lives that are affecting his choosing to be in the medical science business in this lifetime? I get a yes. Okay, there's a whole bunch of mirrors that have come out. Show me the one that's the most pertinent, the one that applies the most. Way the heck down on the right side. It's up kind of high, in the Home Depot and in where they have those forklifts, So I'm seeing myself jogging down this hallway, and I'm being raised up as if I'm on a forklift up to this scene. I'm walking into it. Okay, I get 1723 in Australia. I get the outback. You were an Aboriginal person. Yeah. You were part of the Aboriginal culture, the indigenous people. I get that you were involved. You were a man in that lifetime. I get that you were involved in healing modalities. So you were using herbs and bugs and plants and things like that. I can see you scrunched down, like on in a squatting position with your your butt's almost all the way down to the ground, and you've got a bowl and a mallet, like an old-fashioned pharmacist, would be mixing and crushing things together. You have a propensity for mixing herbs and bugs. You get bugs but leeches and stuff like that have been used since forever, but you're mixing them into these potions. And I see you doing that. All right. So how does that relate to this lifetime? I get that you are interested in alternative things that can be used in conjunction with the traditional Western medicine as we know it. You're interested in whether or not you implement it. You're interested in exploring.
He's open. I'll say that.
Open other types of modalities. I also get that obviously you're interested in healing because you work, you work as a medical provider with that. And I also get that you're the one that people come to in your family if they don't feel well. Is that true?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to run out of time. Do you want to come back to wrap it up or?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Because I don't want to cut you off. So I didn't want to.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Bye. See you in a minute.
Show. unknown zone.
Talk show.
The unknown zone.
Talk show.